Hi, this is going to be a quick video on how to use our new template with our enable backend button to easily follow 3 steps to add a backend. Step 1, after you've already made your project, whether you're making like a chat app, an e-commerce app, whatever it is, make sure you finish your app first, the actual non-backend functionality. Once you've done that, head over here, hit this button, and then here you see that it says video 1. This video we're recording right now is going to be here in this spot. You hit this copy Supabase projects button because the first thing you need to do is actually create your Supabase project. So I hit this URL here, then I go over to my tabs, I paste this URL, then I get this view. I have this view because I've already created a project, but if you haven't created a project before, you'll have a interface to log in like this. Once you've gone through the sign-up process, you'll then see that same UI that I was just showing. Now I need to go over here to the top left and hit new project. If you haven't created an organization yet, this is where you do it. It's basically how you group your projects together. So let's say you had like a team organization, you also had your own personal organization. You want to keep your personal stuff in your own one and then keep your team ones in here. I'm going to just use my platform testing organization. There we go. Now here, pick a name. I'm going to call it demo. Database password, I recommend just generating one. And then make sure you copy whatever the password is so you don't forget it because it's very important. Then you want to click a region that is close to where you are. So I'm close to West US. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit create. And after that, it will start creating my project. Okay, there we go. And you'll see here that they've given me my secret API key. You're going to need to, in the next step, copy this and then bring it over to Rosie. But you don't have to do that in this step. We'll head over to step 2. Over here, you'll see we have this SQL. SQL is a programming language used for programming databases. So it's going to be used for our backend on Supabase. To easily enable our backend, what we want to do is copy this SQL here. Then we want to switch over to our project. Head over to SQL editor. You'll see something like this. Paste your code here and then hit run. There you go. You should have success. And now if you head over to your database here, you'll see that these wouldn't have been here before. That means things are working as expected. And now you're on step 3. You want to make sure that your app is actually working before you try and enable a backend. So for example, let's say you're working on a chat app. You want to make sure you have your chat and your login page ready before you set up the backend. If you don't, then it can be a bit confusing because you can't even test your backend, because if you make a backend for a chat app without the chat app actually working yet, how are you going to know it works or anything? It's going to be complicated. So I recommend creating one right now. I'll create one really quickly and I'll get back to you in a few seconds so we can start the process of doing step 3. Okay, so now we have our simple chat app over here. Type in your name and then over here I say hello or hey. It says Jason, hey. Okay, so there we go. Simple chat app. There's no backend or anything. So if you reset, everything gets reset, right? But now, as we saw inside our backend process, step 3, we need to head over and get our project URL and API key. So let's head back to Supabase, get our URL here, head back and paste it. Here is my URL, paste. Here is my API key. Head back over, copy that and paste it for Rosie. Paste. Let's set up the backend. There you go, and Rosie will start helping us with this. Let's see what she says. Yep, she's enabling the backend with what we just provided. Awesome, exactly what we want. Let's wait for this. I want to move myself so you can see better. There we go. Okay, so she said these changes will configure our Supabase client. Before these changes take effect, make sure you run the SQL subscript in your Supabase project. Okay, so she's giving us extra stuff to run, so I will do that. She may not do this for you, so I'm going to go back to my SQL editor here. We already ran some before, if you remember from step 2. I'll just do this though. Run. There we go. Head back to my project. Apparently we're good to go. So I'm going to say Jason, run, say hey. Oh, I didn't say anything. If that's happening, I simply just say when I sent a message, nothing happened. You likely have to do a few fixes like this right after you enable your backend. Rosie just needs a couple fixes. She may ask you to run a bit more SQL. So what she said, first you need to run this SQL. Head over SQL again, paste this in a SQL editor and run. Oop, we got an error saying that already exists, so that's fine. If it already exists, it already exists. Okay, go back to Jason. I see myself saying hey. Let's say what's up, and there we go. It says what's up, the app. Let's say we're somebody else now. Emma. Now we see our messages here, and I can say nothing much. There we go. And then let's even demo how this will look. Actually, before I do that, let me rename the project. Okay, super chats. Chat with anyone. Okay, I'm gonna publish that. There we go. Copy that. Then I'm gonna open it up at the same time. Say Jim. and John. Jim says, party time. And then over here, John, refresh this page real quick. John comes in here and he sees Jim's message. Of course, the next update we want to do here is make it that when you send a message, it automatically shows up instead of you having to refresh. The point of this is just to show that this is how you type your backend. So the next step would be to go tell Rosie, okay, I'm noticing right now that people have to refresh to see the updates. How do I make it that it updates automatically in real time? And then Rosie will help you with that. But for the purpose of this step, you now see that our backend did now work the way we wanted. You did have to follow some extra steps from Rosie to submit some more SQL. That may happen, it may not. It depends. Sometimes you might get away with only having to submit the SQL from the step 2, this one here. Sometimes you have to add more than that, like you saw in this case. But in the end, all we did was submit our URL and our API key from here. Boom, boom, yeah. And there you go, we have our backend ready. The process is as simple as those 3 steps. Step 3 may be more complicated or less complicated depending on your app and what you're making, but Rosie will help, like you saw, just giving me SQL I can run. And the worst thing that'll happen is that either like there'll be errors and Rosie will help you fix it, or she'll tell you to submit some more SQL a few times and you just need to go back to the SQL editor and just paste and keep running it until your app works. So once your app is working with the backend, you then say, Rosie, remove the enable or hide the enable backend button or remove it. And then she'll say, sure, she'll hide this button and then your app will be good to go with the backend. That's everything. Thank you so much.